Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. Good morning, Michael.
Fantastic. How's everybody this morning?
Wonderful, thank you.
Excellent. Nice weekend with the sunshine out there for a change. Super duper. So the good news is we're going into another program, which is Outlook. And I'm pretty sure that most of you have a good idea about Outlook. However, we're going to explore it. Now, some of you may never have used it before, so we definitely need to go over quite a few different things. Because Friday is going to be a holiday for you, unfortunately, I still have to work, but Friday will be a bit of a holiday for you. I'm going to take a look at how well we do through the week to determine whether or not to hold the test on Thursday or to hold the test on Monday. So I'm going to take a look at that. The only thing is you still have to stay on top of everything as we go along. Now, most of you should have received an email by now. In fact, I think basically everybody has an email that is specifically geared towards Outlook and using Cengage. So you should have received an email from, excuse me, Trios Services, and that will give you a new number. Outlook is actually, it uses a different book. So when you type in the PP code for Outlook, it will give you a different book entirely from the one we've been using, even though the one we've been using also has Outlook in it. So I'm just going to switch over for 1 second here. Let me just check this out. Make sure we're in there. Yep. So you should be able to see my screen. Everybody can see my screen, correct?
Yes.
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 Fantastic. Good show. So what you can see right now is once you've actually logged in and you type in that PP code, you're going to actually see your PowerPoint, your Word, your Excel, but you'll also see Outlook here. And there are 5 trainings in here that we're going to take a look at a little bit later on today. But there are 5 trainings. There are also 2 projects. And unlike the last course, this time you have 2 projects. The projects will not actually be due until Friday. So this will give you plenty of time through the week to actually work on them. Do a little bit at a time, and I'll take a look at those before we end the class today, so that you have a better idea as to what you're going to be doing in them. But you definitely need to do these trainings and do them on time. They don't take that long. Some of you have a tendency of holding off until the last day. Don't do that because they could cut off on you and you wouldn't be able to do them, so you lose the mark. So you'll definitely want to make sure you're doing them. So let me just pull this out of the way. There we go. And look at all those cute people. Fantastic. So let me just check that I have recording going. Yep. And there we go. Just going to do the quick attendance. Fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull across and we're going to take a look at Outlook and I'm going to walk through it. It's going to turn my face off so we can focus on it and pull this across here. And I'll pull this one across here. So here's Outlook. Now, this is my student account. So everything I do here will be on my student account. I'm just going to open it up so we can see the whole thing for a moment. It has a ribbon like anything else, but now there's a slight difference. There are a variety of tools that are available to us that we're going to be exploring piece by piece. At the particular moment today, we're going to deal with 2 different sections. Oh, by the way, I should do that first, shouldn't I? So let me just open that up. There we go. So I forgot, we should open up this first. So just to give you an idea of what we'll be doing all week long, and this is just Outlook. However, Outlook is one of those tools which is really, really fascinating. Because it's part of Microsoft, this means we can copy, we can paste, we can actually integrate all the different programs into it. So Word, Excel, PowerPoint, they can all actually be inserted into Outlook. So Outlook can become a multifaceted program that allows us to share information with anyone, and they can see it in real time as well, which is another beautiful feature. And some of the newer versions of Outlook actually provide more services available. So in this case here, some of the things that we really want to become good at is sending emails. And of course, most of you are used to sending emails. If you've used Outlook a great deal, then you basically have a good idea as to how to send an email. We just want to run over them very carefully. And also we want to take a look at replying to an email because there are different ways of doing that. And we'll also take a look at manipulating and sending contacts. One of the things that often happens is you get information from someone and you'd like to store it so that you can contact them, excuse me, later on and be able to communicate back and forth with the other person. So we can actually add their information to our contact list. In fact, we can add a tremendous amount of information. So working with groups as well, and we'll talk a great deal about that a little bit later, and also updating and maintaining a calendar. Now you're going to have to be able to do this, so we are going to be walking through that today as well. So this will be a little bit longer today than normal. Updating and maintaining the calendar, and in addition to this, managing tasks, which is another beautiful feature of this particular product. It allows me to actually use it kind of like a scheduling platform in a sense as well. So using the calendar and also managing tasks allows me to control how people are interacting with it, and also for scheduling meetings and things of that nature. So we'll take a look at each one of these 6 elements. Excuse me. So the training on Cengage is 10%. Remember that 10% is really important to you. It really does make a difference. It really does. Assignment number 1 is 25% of your final mark. And so assignment number 2 is also worth 25% of your final mark. So it does kind of break it down. And I sent you a copy of this in the invitation I sent you for this particular class. So you actually have this student outline, and it is for the 4 days rather than the 5. Final exam is 30%, and I haven't decided when this will take place, excuse me, at this particular point. And of course, professional performance, 10%. And keyboarding. Now, for some of you, you've received your keyboarding, and some of you haven't. So for those of you who are doing the keyboarding already, you can start working on it more proficiently. The whole idea behind providing you with keyboarding was to give you something that you could work on to perfect your skills at using a keyboard. A lot of employers were asking us why some of the students couldn't use a keyboard very well. Of course, when you get out into the real world, people want you to be able to use a computer efficiently and effectively. So keyboarding is actually very important. So spend at least 15, 20 minutes a day. For those of you who haven't received it yet, don't worry about it. They will be sending it out eventually. And the passing mark is 60%. However, it's important for you to understand the following, that 60% is the grade that I provide you with, not Cengage. Cengage is giving you information based on your activities with Cengage, not necessarily the class as a whole. So those marks that you see in your Cengage grading are for your sake based on what you're doing within Cengage. Just keep that in mind, that there can be a discrepancy between the two. So let's take a look at what we're doing over the next 4 days. Now, Friday is open. Thursday, we may actually, it depends on how well we do. The assignments I've already given you, and I'll take a look at those near the end of the class today. Also, we're going to take a look at each one of these days. Today, 2 different concepts, which may actually push into tomorrow as well. We'll see how it works. And then day number 2, we're dealing with contacts and personal information that we're communicating back and forth. And as I said, this tool is really good for customer service, where you can actually gather an awful lot of information and hold on to it. And also customizing Outlook's assignment day. And again, I've moved the assignments out of the way, so they're now provided to you automatically within that invitation I sent you. And they will be due not on that particular day, but they'll be due on Friday. So basically on Friday, you'll be doing your assignments as well, finishing them off, I should say. So that's basically where we're going. And you do have a copy of this, so you can always look at it and refer to it and see exactly where you should be and how you should actually be moving towards that. Keep in mind, you want to do this a little bit at a time, and you'll actually be able to do it extremely well. And the reason I say it's due on Friday is because you'll be sending everything on Friday. So let's take a look at this incredible tool. This is really a fascinating tool, this Outlook. It allows us to create all kinds of folders, and each one of these things on the right-hand side is our folders. And we can actually open them up and see what's inside of them. And the other beautiful thing here is, and we have one already here, which I'm just going to delete, don't want that one. We have a test email. So if I click on it right here, I can actually see what's inside of that email on the right-hand side. But let's just take a look at one of those. So here I have one, and I can actually see what happens to be inside of that particular email. And to do that, I have view up here as well. So in the view category, I have several different views that allow me to explore the content. Each one of these sections, whether the folder section or a little bit of information, a blurb about what emails are coming in, and then, of course, viewing what's inside the email itself. I can change those views with the layout here. So the layout tab within the ribbon actually allows me to manipulate it a little bit. I can decide to get rid of the folder pane, so I can minimize it if I want to. I can turn it off entirely, so I'll turn it off, and now it's gone. So if you're not really using it, it doesn't make much sense to have it open. I use it very frequently. In fact, I'll give you a really good idea as to how much I use it. I'll turn this back on again. We'll say normal for a moment. And I'll just go down here to my Trios email. There we go. And these are some of the folders, but when you start to look at it, this is my inbox. Lots of folders, and I can open up all of these different things. Fantastic. I actually have probably about 300 folders. Believe it or not, this is just to kind of allow me to separate things into the categories that they need to be part of. And of course, these are older courses, and I keep that information. So it allows me to actually separate information, and I can also create rules to allow me to shift information into very specific folders. This allows me to control what's coming in and when I actually prioritize myself to look into those folders. So folders are actually to our advantage. Let me just close that out a little bit. And up here, now that I have the inbox, I can click on it. And you'll notice even here, I have quite a few different tasks or different folders that I put information into. And then, of course, I have the send and sent items, which is separate entirely, and there are no folders in here. However, I could actually put folders here too So let me do that very quickly. I'm just going to right click on it. And of course it says I can put a new folder in. So I'll put a new folder and we'll say Outlook class. So whenever I send out an email that is going to go out to the Outlook class, I can actually then just simply paste it in here or drag it in there. So let's just say I have this email here. I'll click on it and I'll drag it and I can drop it into that particular folder. So now it's gone here, but when I click on the folder, it's inside that folder. So it's a great way of actually isolating things and putting them into context where you can then, let's say, schedule your timing as to where you want to look and what's important and what the priority should be. That's one of the good things about it. In fact, if we want to look for it, I can find it very quickly simply by going to the folder I set aside for it. So here I'll create another one. And this will be for the incoming emails. So I'll just create a new folder and I'll call it Outlook class. My Outlook class, whoops, there's my Outlook class. Fantastic. So there's my Outlook class. And now I have a folder for that purpose as well. Now there's a peculiarity here, and I'm going to name it for you. It's priority. And that is, I have a little dash here, and you'll notice this is alphabetical inside. So it goes from M to S all the way through this particular area. And these are indented, so it tells me they're inside of the inbox. So if I want to bring it to the top, and let's just say, for instance, I have a lot of different folders that I want to use to sort my emails, then what I can do is put a little dash in front of it. And that's what I've done here. So for my Outlook class, I will right click on it to rename it. And here I have a lot of choices. So renaming. And I'm just simply going to put an underscore. In fact, I'm going to put just one. That's enough. But I could put 2 or 3 just to kind of separate it a little bit. And then, of course, I'll accept that. And you notice that because of the underscore, it automatically puts it to the top. Of course, a number would do the same thing because it's alpha numeric. So numeric comes in first, and then, of course, the alphabetical constructs come after that. So in this case here, I can put it to the top by simply putting a character in front of it. And that allows me to shift it to the top. Of course, there are other ways as well, but this is for our sake, the easiest approach. So I can, once I actually start creating folders inside, I'll also get this little arrow, this chevron. And as I click on it, it will close it up for me. And of course, I can open up the sent as simply because I created a folder in here as well. Anything without one simply means there are no folders inside of it. Conversation history has one, so if I click on it, it says, no, they've all been deleted, and I did delete quite a few of them. Of course, we do have files that are bigger than, and I've created folders for a variety of different things here. Again, different groups, etc. So if an email comes in, it usually has a number beside it, telling me that an actual email has in fact come in. So I'm just simply going to create an email very quickly. I'll go to the Home tab. I'll go to Email. Now I'm doing this for a reason, and I want you to watch what I'm doing here. Now, in my case, I have quite a few different email accounts. So I can choose from which account it actually comes from. This one only has 4. Okay. I actually have a whole fleet of them. But in this case here, I want it to go from my regular Trios account. So I'll choose my Trios account, and then I'm going to send it to this account. So So there we go, triostudent.com. Now you also notice something else. If you've had any communications with that particular account in the past, it will probably be associated with your particular Outlook. If it happens to be a Trios account, it will most likely go through the address book looking for that particular account. So if you type in the student name of another student, it'll probably find it for you. If you type in my first name .j, it'll probably find my account as well. And there's my account. So I can actually click on it. It's already validated. And of course, there are other options here. I'm going to put those in a moment. Excuse me. We'll say Outlook class today. Fantastic. And we want to put a message in here. So I'm just going to put a quick little message in here. Just give me one quick second. Oops. Let's do that again. Fantastic. Okay. So I'm just putting a picture in here. Oh, look at all those weird looking people. And I'm going to send it to myself. And now it's gone. Now we are going to do this again in a moment. So this is not to be worried about. You notice here that the message has come in and it's given me a number. It's saying that there is one unread message. So this numbering scheme on the side is really to our advantage. Now you also see it here 3, which simply means that I've deleted 3 messages that have not been read. And there are 3 messages here that were not read. So the number actually is to our advantage. So if I click on it and open it up, of course, it automatically shows me what was inside of that particular email. And there you go. These are the wanted poster. Fantastic. And it also gives me a little bit of information as to what is inside. Now, there's nothing specific inside of this particular folder, this particular email, other than just the picture. So there's no lines of information here. I do want to do that as well. So I'm just simply quickly going to grab some text here as well. And let me just go to the Ipsen site. Ipsen. This is a junk site. It contains no information whatsoever. Fantastic. So I'm just going to copy this. Good. That's all I want. And I'm going to create a new email. Now, once again, up here on the Home tab, I have new email or new item. Now, there are different kinds of email. We'll take a look at those. So here's my email, and I'm going to send it back again to myself. Again, I just click on it. There it is. And I'm going to send it from my regular Trios. There you go. And for a subject, I'm going to put in data. So this is just simple data, and I'll paste in the garbage I just put in. There's my garbage. And I will just keep pasting it, so I have quite a bit. There we go. So I got lots of data in there right now. Fantastic. And I'll just send it to myself. It'll take a minute to come in, and there it is. So it just came in. This is how fast email, by the way, email can actually go all the way around the planet before it eventually arrives in your Outlook, and it takes less than a second. So now this is why I actually put that content in, is because I've set this up so that I can primarily see at least 3 lines of information inside of this particular view. So I can see what came in today, what came in much older. I can even close that up so I don't look at the old stuff, and I can see the new information here. So when I click on that email, I can now see what's inside that email as well. But the beauty here is I can actually see what might be in it, so I don't have to actually click on it. And once again, that comes back to our ability to view information. So in this case here, I can decide to see the folders or not, but I can also see the reading pane. Okay, so reading pane, do I want it to be on the right-hand side? Would I prefer it to be on the bottom? So now I can see up here a little bit better what's inside that email, and then I can see the email itself underneath this, so I can always scroll down and take a look at what's inside of it. And the good news is I can decide to, if I have a, let's say, a restriction to my ability to view information, I can always drag this line up and see, more spacing inside here. So again, you have a line here you can actually drag to any position you want. Again, it depends on your monitor and how big it is and how much you can see in it. So I usually like to see it on the right-hand side. So I'm just going to choose the right again. However, I could have chosen other options. I could turn it off entirely, which means it's not available. What I'd have to do is double click on the email, which opens up another window with that email in it. Okay, we're going to do that in a moment as well. So the alternative here is there are other options, and you can see the other options here. Now, mark the item as read when viewed in the reading pane. So once I actually look at it, it automatically turns off that number because I've already read it. Allow the preview message, so I could preview that particular message when I actually look at it or click at it. So lots of different elements that you can choose here, and you'll notice different colors dependent on what is transpiring. This one has a little flag in it. I'll explain that in a few minutes, which is why it's yellow right at the moment. Something that needs to be dealt with. We also have another bar here. Let me just open this back up to right. And on the right-hand side, we're going to open up another section. Anything that we set up, should it be a calendar, and this helps us to determine when we open it up in the morning, what do we have to do, or some scheduled events that we want to participate in, or a task that we have to do as well. And we can set it up for different people, calendars, tasks, or we can turn it off. I'm going to turn it to calendar. And now I have a calendar here. And if anything had been set up, it will automatically appear below. And you notice here I have a number of different things that are taking place. Each day there's something happening. There are additional meetings that are taking place at different times. So we can see the meetings that are actually taking place. In fact, if we hadn't joined this morning, there would be a join button here so that I could just click on it and I could immediately join the Teams meeting. Now I'll explain that a little bit later because we are going to take a look at that option as well. But in addition to that, we would actually have some other possibilities here, especially if we had set up tasks. Such as you see down here, there is a task, but that's quite an old one. That's May, actually. So in May, there was actually a task to be done, and I left it in there for a test. So we can actually see what is coming up, what's happening in the far future, and we can see what's happening on a day-to-day basis. As I click on different days, I can see what is happening on that particular day as well. And I can even go backwards and take a look at some of the older things that were happening as well. On different days, we can actually explore them. So having this to-do bar open may actually be something that you might want to have open because you're doing something. You may be working on a task or something of that nature. So I'm just going to jump to people for a moment. There's Uzma, and I can also jump to tasks. So there are tasks underneath it. I'm just going to turn people off for a moment. And of course, I could choose calendar and turn that off. Anything with a check mark is visible. So if I decide I don't need the calendar anymore, then I could just turn that off as well. And I can see all the things that needed to be accomplished. And these little flags are just my way of determining the significance of it. Now, I'll talk about these in a few minutes as well. And I've also put categories in here. And we noticed that when I had the calendar open as well, that with the calendar, there are a variety of different colors that come up here for each one of the, let's say, the different meetings that are taking place. And I've scheduled them by color as well. And some of the emails themselves are actually categorized. This is a brilliant way of doing things, that you can actually use different colors to determine the significance of a particular email or a set of emails, or from a specific customer or a specific office person that you're dealing with. You may actually apply a particular category. And of course, we'll talk about categories in a couple of minutes. They're at the top here in the view. So if I don't need that and there's just too much stuff on the screen right now, I basically would want to turn it off. And unless you need it, you're not going to be using it that frequently anyhow. So I can always scan through my emails by just clicking on them as well. But you can always turn this off, by the way. So maybe I don't want the folders to be visible right at this particular moment. There's a tiny little arrow at the top here. I can click on it and it kind of crunches it into the side a little bit. Now I can still jump between the calendar, the mail, contacts if I want to. And also I can take a look at some of the tasks. And there are other functions here as well, such as creating folders, just seeing the folders, or notes or shortcuts that I may want to use, some of the navigation ability. So I can look at notes, like little post-it notes that I want to make. And these are actually useful to you, because this allows you to go in and say, well, whoops, it's on the other screen. So let me pull it across here. There you go. So there's a little post-it note here, and I can open them up whenever I happen to need to take a look at them. And here's another one here from Tamika. So arriving at 10:06, she sent me an email and a message as well. So there are some really nice features here where I can jump around and take a look at the different functions and facets that are available to me. And of course, I can open that and I can close it. What this little tiny pin means is right now it's kind of covering up. And you can see how it's covering this up. If I click here, you notice that the names are full. If I just simply go back here without clicking on this here, and I click on emails, or I click on, let's say, folders for a moment, there's folders, it's covering it up. And what the pin does is it literally sets this area. So if I click on it, all of this will shift over. So I'm going to click on pinning it. There you go. Now everything else is shifted over, so it made space for it. So once again, I can close it up if I want to. I can look at any of the folders or any of the content, and these folders are definitely to your advantage to create them. They're really easy to create. You just simply right-click on the inbox, create a brand new folder by clicking on it, and then simply type in the name. So this is actually to your advantage to be able to do that. There are also properties here as well. Here's my property pane. And these properties, you don't have to worry about these at the moment, but it's just to let you know there are a lot of different things that can be modified. Piece of cake. So let's take a look at this home tab, because we could create new email, which we will do again. And we can also create new items. For instance, there are many ways of getting to the same place. At the top here, new item, or at the bottom here, there's little icons which allow us to create new mail, new contacts, new calendar, tasks that we want to perform, and of course, the More tag, which are the three little buttons. We can create notes, folders, and shortcuts. But we can also do that from up here as well on the Home tab with this new item. And again, email, appointments can be made. We're going to be doing that a little bit later. Meetings as well. Also contacts, tasks, but there are some other options that are available here. A Teams meeting that we want to set up. We're going to do that a little bit later. Excuse me, my voice seems to be cracking a bit. And of course, there are more items such as we can create posts in the folder, or we can do a variety of other tasks as well. There are a lot of different things that we're able to achieve with this particular product. Piece of cake. Somebody just sent something here. Good morning. Okay. So the next thing here is maybe what we want to do is delete some of this as well. So there are different ways of deleting. I can simply click on something. So let's click on this one with all this garbage in it. And let's say I want to delete it. All I need to do is when it's highlighted, click on delete, and it's history. It's gone. I could actually undo that. So it's back again. It's like a bad seed, jump back again. And we can also come in here and maybe I want to block senders. Maybe you have some crazy person sending you emails, or you have some company who's constantly spamming you. You can block that individual. You can make sure that they cannot communicate with you any further. Just simply by filling out the information. I've clicked on this email and I can then block that person or never block the sender. You get to decide. And junk email, we're going to take a look at some of these a little bit later. But we can also take a look at cleaning up conversations. One of the features that exists here is you may actually go back and forth. In other words, they send me an email, I return it, and then they send it again and I return it. And there's quite a list of emails about the same subject. I can clear that conversation up by getting rid of some of it. I can also clear up the folder as well. So if a folder happens to be full or it's getting a little out of hand, I can clean that up as well. And any subfolders. So Inbox has all of those subfolders inside of it that I've created. And I may want to clean them all up and dump the information that's in them. Again, once you've used something, there's no need having it. Now, if you had emails that you really don't want to lose, they take up a lot of space. They really do sometimes, even though they're very small. Sometimes people send you things, they send you files, and you don't want to lose it. So what you can do is archive. And this will actually go through a process of taking all of the information that you have selected, you select it, and then it will archive it. And it'll create a new folder at the bottom called archive so that when you're ready, you can click on it. What it's really doing is zipping all that information up and putting it separate so that you can access it at a later point. It takes up much less space. So archiving is something that you want to take into consideration for hiding information. And then, of course, how do I want to reply to someone? Now, in this case here, let me just open this email. There's only one person, and it came from one particular person. If I put my mouse over the name, it gives me information about that particular person. If it's actually in my address book, then any kind of information will be available to me. And of course, I can, if there's quite a bit, I can scroll through it and I can see the information that happens to be in there. So, and if they have let's say a LinkedIn account, I can connect to that. Yeah, I can click on here and I can send them an email that is separate from what I'm doing at the moment. Or I can use the More tag, and there are other options like schedule a meeting with that individual. So in this case here, I can see that it's from a single individual, but there are times when it could be from a group. So I could reply to all the people that are associated with it. Sometimes you have a lot of people that are in the list, and therefore you could reply to all of them. There's only one disadvantage. When this happens and there's a lot of people in that list, there's a lot of confusion as to where the original is. And this actually is something that you need to think about. So sometimes it's better to reply only to that one individual that sent the email originally. There are times when maybe you want to send this to someone else as well. So what you can do is when you click on an email, you can forward it. So here I'm forwarding it. Now the original email is inserted into the new email. I just need to type in the person's address. Any additional people can be placed in here. And by the way, a semicolon is used to separate email addresses. So if I want to put in 2 or 3 people here, I can do that. So let me type in Michael. Okay, so there's Michael. That's the original, and I'm going to send it to myself as well. So once again, we'll send it to instructor there. So you see a little semicolon at the end, and that separates the people that it's going to. So this will go to 2 separate accounts, and I could do that in the CC as well, which is like copy. Send a copy to someone. Piece of cake. Now there is also a third level, and that's the BCC. To acquire the BCC, and there are several methods, the method we're going to use is we can either click on this anywhere, CC, BCC, doesn't matter, or 2, and I could go through my, let's say, my address book, and I have quite a few address books here that I can actually go through. You also, as students, will have a list of contacts that you need to contact as well. I can go through this entire list, and it will give me information as to the telephone numbers, etc. Global list. Fantastic. And of course, there are other lists as well, all groups, all rooms, etc. Now, below here, there's also BCC. We always send out a BCC, which is a hidden. And therefore, if I wanted to include somebody, but I didn't want anyone to know who had been included, I could add in their email address in the BCC. And this would fundamentally hide that particular address from anyone seeing it. The person who receives it as a BCC will be able to see who sent it and to whom it was sent. But they will not, if the person it was sent to will not actually see who has been listed in the BCC. So it kind of hides it, and it's actually a really good feature, especially if you want to include someone to let them know what's going on in the background. Sometimes you have maybe a customer, or you have a supplier who's giving you a bit of a hard time, or maybe somebody in the office, and you'd like to send it to your manager, let them know the problems you're running into with this, or that you've quoted a specific amount for, let's say, a customer, and you want the manager to be aware of what you quoted as well. So you would include them, but they wouldn't be included as a CC or 2. So we can add that additional information. And of course, I now have an area that I can type in some information, such as this is being redirected to you. Fantastic. And of course, this will be on the top. So I think what I'll do is I'll just highlight it and I will italicize it so it's different, excuse me, from the rest of the email. Again, I can then send this and it will appear in both of these accounts. So I'll just send it. Fantastic. And we'll see it pop up here in a moment. I can hear it, didn't see it. Oops. Oh, it's still send receive. Fantastic. There it is. So now it has arrived. And of course, inbox folder. And if I click on it, there is my email that I have forwarded. And I forwarded it to other people other than the person that I wanted to communicate with. In addition to this, we have some other tools up here as well. Excuse me. Reply to a meeting. Now, there are times when you set up a meeting, and we're going to do this much later today, but when we do that, we can actually reply to the meeting as well, because there are other things you can set up, such as voting, where an individual has the ability to vote on whether or not they want to choose a specific date. In addition to this, we also have more respond activities. So maybe we want to forward as an attachment. In other words, include this email into a new email, but do it as an attachment rather than inserting it inside of the email itself. So again, we have some other choices here. When it comes to the folders or other functions that we want to perform here as well. So once again, quick steps, these are quickies that we can set it up to do very specific things to manager, team email, done. There's a lot of different things that we can actually do here. I'm going to leave this one for the moment, but we'll come back to that a little bit later. And of course, the drop down where we can look at it. We can also move things around. So maybe I want to select a number of, let's say, folders or emails. So let's just choose these two. Choose that one there, and I'm going to choose this one here. So I held down the control key and I clicked on a dissimilar email. So now I have these two emails, and I'd like to move them to a very specific folder. So the folders that are available to me are all in here. So why don't I shift it to a particular folder? So I'll come back up here, move, and since they're selected, I can decide where to shift them. So I can choose another folder or what's here. Okay, so there's my class, Outlook class. So I'll click on that. And now they disappear. Well, they didn't actually disappear. They're just moved into this folder. So maybe I want to select a lot of different things that are available here and then shift them into a particular folder. And I can do that. I can select a whole bunch of them and then just move them. So I'm going to move them back again. So go back here. And where can I move them? I can choose another folder. And I'll just come up here to inbox and I'll put it back in the inbox. So I clicked on inbox, click OK. Now they're gone from here. Go back to the inbox and there they are back again. So I can move large volumes of, let's say, things around. There's a shift key. All of these can now be shifted. So I can move those. And let's say I put them into, again, we'll put them in the Outlook class. Now they're all gone. Click on Outlook and there they are. So if I want to put them back again, I can just select them. And I can move them back to the inbox again. So again, make sure that if you have multiple accounts, you know where you're sending them. And back to the inbox again. So the nice feature here is that I can move things around. The other feature here, I'm not going to go into any detail right now, and that happens to be creating rules, because sometimes you have emails come in and you don't want to deal with it right away. This is why I always ask you guys to put in a subject line. When you put in a subject line and it's the one I've asked for, then I can set up a rule that when your email comes in, it automatically puts it into a folder. And it puts it into the folder that I've designed it to go into, such as Outlook class. So if the subject line was a specific word, I could then set up a rule that would allow me to send anything that was in that particular folder, or let's say coming into the inbox with a specific name in it. It would allow me to actually go ahead and decide which folder to put it into. So these rules, by the way, and there are lots of different tabs here inside of this. So I'm not even going there right now. I just wanted to show you it exists. One note as well, should you want to copy or let's say design or make notes of something that just came in. Remember, in the real world, people don't read every email right away. Sometimes they prioritize. They look to see which one is the most important. And that's why the subject line is so extremely important. This allows them to pick and choose what to deal with right away. One of the problems a lot of people run into is they get inundated with so many emails that you really do have to know what's important to you, your department, your company, and what is not. Assigning policies, well, we can do this as well. We can assign retention policies, how long to maintain these emails, what to do with the read ones, the unread ones. So either we want to change it to unread, which has a bar here, or we'll simply say we've read it, so the bar disappears. Okay, so remember, anything that is unread is going to have a number here. So if I choose unread, automatically it puts that bar in, and it also says there's one message you haven't read yet. The other thing here with tags, and there are two elements that I'd like to look at carefully. The first one is categories. Now, I use categories very frequently, and the reason I use them is because I can separate what that particular set of emails is all about. And I can also search for a specific color. So if, let's say, I have 100 or 200 emails come in per day, which is basically normal, then I want to be able to have a strategy that allows me to sort through them very quickly. And one of the things I'll do is just simply put in a color. Well, I don't have anything for this particular one, so I'll just go in here, all, and now I can create one. So I'll create new, and I can choose any color I want. So I'm going to choose the green here. Okay, and I'm going to put in Outlook. Actually, I think I'll use yellow. So I'll use yellow. There you go. And I'll say this is the class. Yep. Class, and we'll say September 2020. So is there a shortcut key? What this means is the keyboard can actually be used to automatically put in this color. So I'm going to make it Control F2. Now you don't have to, I'm just putting it in for your sake. So click OK, it'll automatically add it. There it is right there. It says if I press Control F2, it'll automatically add it. Click OK, and there's my yellow now. It's a yellow category. And I have the yellow category with the name on it. Now I can add that one here too. Remember, what was it? Control F2. So I'll hold down the Control key and press F2. And there's my yellow category has now appeared here as well. And that means that I can actually go searching for it. So if I wanted to, on the Home tab, or even in Send Receive, I can actually go about looking for this particular color as well. So here I can sort them by several different features. What is read, what is unread, everything here, okay? Or I can choose to sort this by subject, size, particular flag. We're going to look at categories. So let's just choose category. And now I can see different categories. There's a yellow category, and then of course there's a flag and there's nothing. So it's put these ones at top, but I can use this arrow here to flip it and go in the opposite direction. Okay, this is by category, so I can see the separate categories. Well, let's change the color of this one here. So I'm going to put a category in, or right click, And I'll say, let's choose green. Fantastic, don't care what it is, it's just green. So there's green category. And let's make this one orange. Fantastic, so there's orange. So now I can sort them by category. Again, I can sort by category. The yellows all appear together. If there happens to be other colors, they will sort them all together. So let's change this one to orange. Orange. So now these are orange, this one's green, and these ones are yellow. So let's take a look at this. So we'll just flip it, and it still keeps them together. The oranges are together, the greens are together, and of course the yellows are together. So by using categories, I can actually determine which particular grouping I'm looking for. Maybe I'm looking for an older email that's part of a category. So I can actually look for it. I can even look for dates. So let's put in the date here, and I can see the newest to the oldest, or reverse it, the oldest to the newest. You can actually have multiple categories here. So here I have two categories, one on top of the other. In fact, I can even add one more. Let's put another one in here. We'll put in this one. So now I have three categories here. Again, it's just how will I identify something? And if I type in a specific color for a search, will it find it? So we can make this all the emails or flagged emails, mentioned emails from a particular person to a specific person. So again, I can do it this way as well, where it's from someone specific, or once again from date. And I prefer date, but there's many other different possibilities. So you can actually play a little bit here and get it to do the things that you want it to do. Now there's another feature here as well within tags. Remember, these tags are really useful. What if I wanted, I'm just going to choose this email for a moment. And when I click on the little arrow, it opens it up with, these are things that I may want to take another look at today. So if I put in today, I'll just click on it. You notice it turns this email yellow. And if I go to the to-do list, so I'm just simply going to go to my to-do list. So I go to view. And I'll open up my to-do list and my tasks. And we'll notice that today, there are a variety of different things that need to be done in this particular function. And of course, the test is here. So I have these different ones. I have my Outlook class as well. Everything is now listed for me. And of course, if I wanted to, I could then click on them and have them open up. So if I choose one, let's just say I choose this purple one, keyboard access. I can open up the original email as well, and I can deal with it. So if I have things that are set up and I need to do them today, make sure that they're done, then I can actually set this up with flags in it so that I can actually go through it and evaluate what needs to be done, what hasn't been done, and then of course deal with that situation for that email. So let me just close that up again, view. And I'll turn it off again. There we go. So we can put in these little reminders that maybe we need to catch up on something. Maybe I'll set it up so that it only comes up tomorrow or this week sometime, or no date specific, or customize it. So I could choose to customize it. I could also say it's completed now. So let's just come back here and I'll say it's completed. So mark is complete. Now I get a check mark. It's done. Whatever had to be done is actually now completed. I can even get rid of it, clear the flag entirely, or set other quick actions that I wanted it to do. Fantastic. So done. And I can even put in here a reminder. Once again, I can put in a reminder and it'll come up on the screen when that particular event takes place that this is something that had to be done. So I'm just simply going to set this time to, it's right now almost 9 o'clock. So let's go to 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. Fantastic. So there's a follow-up for 9 o'clock. Oops, just came up. And there it is. So now it came up with a reminder that there is 8 hours past class today, and this is the email here. So it came up with a reminder and a little bit of noise as well. And of course, we can readjust the sound so that it comes up with what I would like, and we can actually have it snooze for a period of time, or we can just dismiss it. So I'll click on it and I'll dismiss, and now it's gone. So the reminder is gone, but the actual task is still here, that if I decide to right click, I can see all the options that are available, and I can turn that off, clear the flag entirely, and now the flag is gone. Now, one other thing here is, of course, the address book and searching for people within the address book. If you have a significant address book, I'll click on it. Whoops, it's on the other side. There we go. It'll give you your address books. Now, as a student, you definitely do have this feature, but it's kind of restricted to basic things. And read aloud. So maybe I don't want to do this myself. I'd like it to read it. Fantastic. So it reads it to you as well. I like that. It's really nice. I'm not going to deal with get add-ins because this takes you to a whole new level and it's going to just confuse you at this point. So one other tab I'd like to look at quickly here is the File tab. Some of you have a tendency of taking in all kinds of emails, but you never delete them. Okay, this is not a good idea. It eventually will accumulate to a point where it fills up your mailbox and you won't be able to accept anything. And you may find that you have a large number of emails there that you will never, ever, 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 ever read. So they're just there. What you can do is come to File, go to Info, and then all the way down here, you'll see Mailbox Settings. And it will tell you exactly how much space you're currently using. Now, it'll be different for every student, but it's usually 2 megabytes. I'm pretty sure they've kept it at 2 megabytes, which means that, you know, you can send a number of files. Files can be sent to you, but it accumulates very quickly. So what you want to do is clean it every so often. So you go to Tools and you empty anything that is deleted that is still in the background. Sometimes when you delete something, it's still inside your particular Outlook. So it may still be holding up a lot of space on you. We can also clean up old items. It'll go backwards and look for old things and get rid of them. This is why archiving is important. You can archive, it won't touch it. But anything that is just getting old, such as, you know, a year or 2 years ago, you received an email and you never deleted it. Okay, well, that email is still in there and it's occupying space that you could use for new emails. So you could actually just clean it up. And of course, the mailbox cleanup by itself, you can click on this and it will go in and clean up the mailboxes as well. So this is actually something that you should be aware of because a lot of you do run into this issue, especially when you start sending files back and forth to different people. You can often find yourself accumulating an enormous amount of material. And when you delete it, doesn't necessarily mean it's gone. Okay, until it removes it from the server, it's still on your computer. So it can actually slow down everything. So let's take a look at send and receive for a moment. In send and receive, we actually have the same capability here. We can send and receive simply by forcing it to happen. By default, it normally happens every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, it automatically sends out any emails that need to be sent out, and it also reads to see if there's any new emails that need to be included into Outlook. It doesn't always happen immediately. Sometimes the company may set it up so that it happens every 30 seconds or every 5 seconds. It's quite possible. Mine is set up for 0 times, so as they go out, they come back in again. So this is something that can be changed anytime. We can update the folders. If, for instance, I'm on the road with a laptop, and a lot of you are using laptops, maybe your laptop is off for most of the day. When you actually hook up again to your server, your email server, you can then update it so that if something has been added, it automatically synchronizes what's on the server and what's on your laptop as well, or your desktop as well. We can send anything here. And by the way, this tool was originally created with some very powerful options. One of those is that it will send during very specific scheduled periods. Now, once upon a time, a lot of people in Northern Ontario and some of the other communities actually didn't have great internet. A lot of it was dial-up. So you actually had to dial up, and therefore you had to pay the telephone line, whatever that happened to be. And of course, between different cities, sometimes the rates were quite high during the day, very low at the evenings. So Outlook was created with the ability to schedule, and it can automatically make telephone calls by itself. It doesn't require you. All you need to do is set up a schedule, and it will automatically pick up the phone. Of course, the phone has to be connected to your computer, but it will actually dial the number to the other server. It will transfer all files and everything else that need to go. It will look for new information, and then it will hang up immediately. And because I said just a few minutes ago, it's only a second to send email. It's rarely on for more than a minute. So this means you're not spending a lot of money. Whereas if you were connecting to another office, you may stay online for half an hour. And just to give you a nightmare story, I did this before the internet came around. We used to use bulletin boards, and I used to get information from a company in California, and this was for electronic components. And every time I needed a schematic or something like that, I would go online, and sometimes it would take up to 45 minutes. And unfortunately, near the end of the 45 minutes, the line would go dead. So I'd have to phone them 4 or 5 times to get what I wanted. Nowadays, with the internet, it's just a piece of cake. You just click and everything is downloaded. Didn't used to be that way. It was very expensive, especially when you consider how much it would cost you to do that. So sending and receiving, and also we can show the progress. We can also download the headers if we want to. A lot of this is just a little bit too much for you at the moment. Working offline, sometimes you do have to work offline. You don't have an internet connection, but you can still open your emails and take a look at them as long as you're working offline. Folders that you may actually want to create new folders, or search through those folders, or maybe you want to make a copy of one and therefore change the name of it, or maybe something else. Maybe you want to mark them or create rules, or you want to sort through them. There's a lot of different features that you might want to use for folders. And view, once again, well, in this case here, we can actually change some of the view settings. If I click here, I can decide I would like to see it not compact, but I like to see it single. Okay, so here we have them broken down in this format as well. And maybe I want to choose, let's say, preview. So I can have just the preview without the work area to look at. And in addition to this, there are other possibilities as well. So I'm going to choose compact again so that I can see it the way I like it. And everybody has their own view. Show focused inbox, I'm not going to worry about that one. Message preview, yes, that's what we have. So the question is, should I like to see 3 lines? Would I like to see 2 lines? So let's do that. Okay, there's only 2 lines here. So what if I wanted to see 1 line? Okay, so let's do that. So now there's only 1 line of information about what's inside of this email. And I can see this is being redirected to, this is redirected to. So I can see fundamentally what's inside of this email, except of course when there's pictures, in which case there's nothing there. Or I can turn it off totally. Okay, so now I don't know what's inside. I have to go by what I see here. I prefer to see the 3 lines so that I can kind of make a determination. You know, do I want to click on it now, or can I go to some other email and open that one? Again, we prioritize these things by looking at this subject line. So as it says here, the subject line right now is Outlook class today. And of course, I have the fantastic subject and I have the test email subject. So we always put in a subject line so that we can help the person prioritize how important is that particular email. And what does it allude to? What is it all about? We also have the other arrangements here, which is, and there's quite a few of them, where we can modify this rather significantly. In fact, we can even change it here. So placing categories into it or customizing the current view, okay? And there are quite a few different things that we can change. The columns, any other settings. I'm going to let you play with this a little bit later. We can also reverse sort. Okay, so reverse it or go back again. Adding columns, I'm not going to. Expanding, well, yes, we can expand it, or we can collapse it. What it's really talking about is today and other. So this is older stuff, and this is the newest stuff. As you go along and you have emails on each day, it will allow you to do this by week and also by day. And of course, the other elements we've already looked at, which are the layouts and of course the spacing, which is also available to us, and we can change that. Reminders, we can put these reminders in again. In other words, to have something make a noise or a sound or display a dialog box. And of course, we can close absolutely everything if we want to. So I'm just going to jump here to the backstage for a moment. There we go. You can always add a brand new account if you want to add an account. And the way you do that is by clicking on Add Account. When you do this, you just simply type in the name of the email account. It'll then look for it. Once it finds it, it'll ask you for the password, and it will automatically set up your account for you. Once that's done, it will appear here. You just close up Outlook, open it again, and it'll automatically appear here, and everything will be listed for you. You won't have to think about it at all. So it will create your accounts automatically. So if you and your husband and your children all have your own account, then you can have all of those accounts in Outlook. And of course, each person can click on it and see the emails for themselves. The nice thing here is we can also lock it up a little bit. We'll do that a little bit later. Fantastic. Of course, there's one other thing here which is important in the backstage. Of course, there are quite a few things, but print is actually important because it's not like Excel and it's not like PowerPoint. And it isn't like, let's say, Word. It is very different. There are 2 formats. One is the tabular view. So this is our tab view, and this is showing me each of the emails. So I might want to print out a list of them. I would suggest you're careful because you want to check how many pages it's going to print. And secondly, you don't get a lot of information here. Let's face it, I'm looking at this and I can see the one that has the picture in it and there's nothing there. So why would I print this thing? And these ones here, I only get a line or two. It's really telling me nothing. So why would I even print that? But sometimes you do want to print a list of your emails. Memo style shows you the content of the actual email itself. So I can actually see what's here and I can see how many pages and I can jump between those pages. Of course, there are print options. And of course, this is once again restricted to these two types. Depending on, let's say, other elements that maybe the company has included, you may actually have a third option as well. But in our case, we only have these two. And of course, we can always preview and take a look at what it looks like if we wanted to print it. So just keep this in mind. There really are only two methods of printing. So this, yep. Fantastic. I just mute that person. Fantastic. So here I've actually gone all the way down to options. And I'm looking at the options that are available. You have the ability to come in here and make changes if you want to. You can customize your ribbon. You can customize the quick access toolbar. We've talked about this before. There are advanced features here. I will let you go through this. You don't have to do anything special. You just want to click through it to get a general idea as to what you can do with it. You can change languages if you want to. You can set up the tasks to appear in a specific way, a different color. You can choose different types of customer or contact, I should say. You can even establish groups, which you'll do a little bit later. The calendar, how you would like to see it, to identify what a holiday is and when they are. These are some of the things. The Trust Center we won't worry about. Add-ins we're not going to worry about. But ribbons, you can set up your ribbons here as well. Remember, there are always ribbons. You can create a brand new one and put in whatever tools you want. If you're looking for all the tools, you'll just see them all here, Command, all the tools that are available, and you can scroll through, click on what you want, and then add that particular feature. And then, of course, you click OK. So the backstage is available to us as well, and we can modify that. Now I'm just going to create another email quickly. There we go. So let's take a look at this email. Oops, we still have that note in the background. There we go. So let's take a look at what's available when you create an email. The first is the tools are a little different. When I go to the backstage, it is different. I can encrypt this email if I want to. I can modify some of its properties, and there are some unique properties here. Number one, we can determine, is this high priority, low priority, or is it just normal emails that we're sending? Do I want to attach any kind of security condition to it? Do I actually want them to be able to vote? Maybe I'd like them to vote on something. So I can click here and I can send an email that says approve or reject, or yes or no, or yes, no, maybe. In other words, are you available for a meeting today? So let's just use yes, no, or maybe. Okay, so there's yes, no, or maybe. And I can say request a delivery receipt. So I'm going to choose that too. This, in other words, means they got it. Doesn't mean they read it, but it means that their server has it. Now, there is a condition for this, and it's an important one. If they're using a, let's say, a Microsoft server, they will be able to see everything you type in. If they're using a Unix server, and I know that you may not understand what I'm saying here, but it's a different kind of server from a different company, very old servers and giants. And these machines do not carry the coding through. So they would not be able to send you back a receipt. They would just simply get the email. It also says here that if they open it, then you also get a message. Okay, I'd like to know that they've opened it. So this is a read receipt. However, it's going to ask them to click on it. And have replies sent to. So if they reply, then I want it to go to, let's say, Outlook. Or I want it to go somewhere else. I want it to go to a specific account. So I can choose that as well. So lots of different things that I can actually apply here. Categories can be set up as well. I'm going to set it up for my Outlook class so it comes yellow. Fantastic. And I'm simply now going to close this. This is now associated with this particular message. Okay, and I'm going to send it to myself. Fantastic. So let's just send it. And where am I? Right there. Fantastic. And I'll say this is for voting. So vote for pizza lunch. Vote for pizza lunch. No, we'll leave it. We'll just say pizza. Okay, so I want to send this, and this is just to check to determine whether or not you'd like to participate in a meeting, or you want to participate with a lunch or what have you. But it's going to send to this particular address a request. So I'm going to send it, but not just yet. Now I can also set it up here as well with the message information, copy, paste, and there's still quite a few paste functions. Address book, I can send it to specific people. But here's another nice thing. I can check to see whether or not the email address is correct. It's going to go out and check to see, do they exist? Sometimes you make a mistake typing and of course it doesn't go anywhere. So I can check it before I even send it. I can attach files. Now all of you need to do this. You can attach a file. You can even go searching for a file as well. It might be on your computer, it might be somewhere else. You're using 2016, so it'll be a little bit different. And you'll probably only be attaching a single file at any given time. Maybe I want to put a link in here as well. So I'll put a link and I'll change that to, let's say, let's just put in ethics and justice. Okay, so this is now a file and they can actually click on that and it will bring that file to them. Okay, in this case here, it's not going to work for me. It's okay. And of course, we can put a signature in. Now, I happen to have a signature. I don't think it's in this particular email. Oh, it is, Trios, okay. So you can actually create your own signature as well. Now, I have one here. You just create new. So let's create a new one, new. And I'll put in the name Mike. And I'll click OK. So now there's Mike. And it wants to know, what do you want to put in here? Well, I'll put in, this is Mike. And I'll make it larger. So I'll highlight Mike. And I'll make that 20. And I'll make it blue. And whoop, a little darker. Fantastic. There you go. And of course, I can do some other things. Now, we'll talk about this business card later. This is actually very important for you. And you're going to have to do one. So we'll talk about that one later. So I'm just going to delete the mic. Don't want it. I'm going to put it in Trios. And I'll click OK. And now when it sends, it will automatically send it with this particular signature. Policies, assign policies, we can do that as well. Of course, follow up, high importance, low importance, etc. Well, this is lunch, so I'm going to say high importance. And I'm simply going to click on send in a moment. Insert, well, maybe I want to insert something. Now we're going to discover we can put in word art, we can put in text boxes. There is something called quick parts as well. We'll be hitting on that a little bit later. Drop caps, the date and the time. Maybe I want to put that in there as well. Click OK. Fantastic. So the date and the time is now in there as well. And of course, I might want to put a calendar in there. So I can do that. I can share my calendar with somebody else. So if they need to see my calendar, what's happening during a particular period of time. So let me do that as well. I'll just, okay, we can also do it this way here. So I'll click. What do I want to send? I want to send my calendar today only. Click OK. So there's my calendar. It says Mike's calendar is in here. So if I click on this, it opens up my calendar for today, the 21st. Fantastic. So I'm sending my calendar for that day. And there's my pizza. So let's send it. Super duper. Let's reopen up Outlook. And let's see, there it is. So it just came up. Vote for pizza lunch. Yeah, lunch, pizza. And look what it came up here with. Not only is my pizza lunch here, okay, my calendar is here, including this message with buttons. So yes, no, or maybe. When I reply, it will automatically send a message back. So I'm going to say, damn right, yes, I want a pizza. Send the response right now. Fantastic. So it's going to send it out, and that message will be sent back. So let's take a look at the other message that was automatically generated. The instructor requested a read receipt. In other words, that you actually saw it. So I'm going to click yes. And there it is. So now it says, here's your yes. Yes, 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 yes. That's my response. Yes. Want the pizza. Want it now. Give me pizza. And of course, if we wait a few minutes, it will send back that it has read it as well. So let's just refresh it. And by the way, I am refreshing it in the background. Hasn't sent it yet, but it will send it in a moment. Okay, hasn't synchronized yet, but it will. And it will send me a response suggesting that, yes, it has actually been read. Somebody has opened it up, excuse me, and that they have decided, yes, they're going to do something with it. So this is actually a beautiful feature. I can actually send out requests for something and I can find out, yes, you saw it. No, you didn't. Now, why is that an issue? Because I have sent out lots of emails in the past and sometimes find out a week or two later that the person didn't even look at their email. So it would be kind of nice to be aware in advance that there is an issue. The person hasn't actually even looked at it yet, but it does happen that way sometimes. So that's kind of like sending out emails, but let's take a look at, there it is there, your message. So let's open it up. This message was received. So it tells me when the message was actually, oh, this is from somebody else? No, it was read. Okay, so they read the message at a specific time. It tells me when they actually saw it as well. So the pizza lunch. Fantastic. So we got lots of emails here. So what I could do now is down at the very bottom, remember at the top here on the ribbon under the Home tab, you have New Item. And at the bottom, you also have this little tiny icon that looks like a calendar. So if I click on that, it shows me the calendar. If I double click, it opens it up. If I come up here, I can choose to create an appointment or a meeting. They're the same thing fundamentally, or I can even create a Teams meeting, which basically is the same thing again. So I'm going to open up the calendar. There's my calendar. Now I have several calendars here. I actually have quite a few of them. I think I have Uzma's calendar as well. I'm not going to open that one. However, you can see there are a number of different calendars here. If I put a check mark in, I can see what that person is doing. When you're working in the real world, you oftentimes have somebody else's calendar available to you. You can click on it and open it up so you can see, should I interrupt them right now, or would it be inappropriate? They're in a meeting. So it's nice to be able to see, is the person in a meeting and you don't want to disturb them. So let's just take a look. Now I have two calendars open here from two separate individuals. I have the one I just created, which is the instructor, and this is the green one. And the orangey one is my Trios instructor account. So I now have both of them open. You can have as many open as you need. So if you need 3 of them, you can have 3 of them open. If you need 5 of them, you can open 5 of them. There's really no advantage to doing that. It's just you're trying to contrast, should I actually connect with somebody right now or can I wait? But let's just say it's the 21st, so it's highlighted by default. And at the very top, it says there are several possibilities. It's either a new announcement, in other words, an appointment you're creating, or it's a new meeting you want to have with somebody else, or it is another option entirely. You want to set up a task or something specific, or it's a Skype meeting if Skype is connected to your computer, okay? And I shouldn't have connected to that, but I did anyhow, and I don't want to. Also here for new team meeting, I might want to create a team meeting, and I can do that today, or I can do that, let's say go 7 days forward. I can see it on a daily basis. Okay, or I can see, and we can see what happens on a day. This is hour by hour, or I can see it by week, and this is a work week. So I see it by week, it's Monday to Friday only, or I see a regular week, which includes Saturday and Sunday. There's Sunday, there's Saturday. And of course, maybe I want to see it by month. So I can click on by month and see the whole month, and I can jump between the months by simply clicking on the little chevron here, and I can jump between them and see each one of the months. Schedule view. Okay, what schedule is taking place right at this particular moment? Well, we're in the Outlook class, so this is the one that's taking place. Fantastic. Let's go back to the month. So what if I wanted, and here I have, again, this month and next month. So I'm always able to see the information I need. At the top, send and receive, folder, view, help. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new meeting. I'm going to create 2. The first one is a Teams meeting. Okay, so I'm clicking on a Teams meeting. Now, the only reason Teams is here is because Teams is on my machine. Since Teams is installed on the computer, it automatically integrated with all the other Microsoft products. So in this case, I can set up a team meeting and it will create a link here automatically for the new class. So I could say this is a test. This is a test, and this will be the title. Now, in our case, we have Outlook class, and of course, who's required and who's optional? Well, you know, I can put in different people here. So I'm going to put in myself. There we go. Instructor, fantastic. And I could keep on putting people here. You know, I can copy and paste a whole bunch of them at once, which is usually what I do. Optional, should they or shouldn't they come? It's up to them. But required, they must come. Okay. And then, of course, the timing. Well, I can click on the little icon and I can choose a different day if I want to. So I'm going to choose today. And I'm going to say this will happen at 12 p.m. So this will happen at noon. So let's just go down here to noon. Just scrolling down. Fantastic. And I'll say it's lunchtime. This is going to be for the pizza. There you go. So till 1 o'clock. And then, of course, I can actually set up time zones. Now, there's a reason why you would do this. Sometimes you're inviting people from another province, another state, another country, and you need to identify what the time zone is. Worst case scenario, somebody comes from Pacific time and they arrive, which means it's 3 hours late. Okay, so you want to make sure that they know it's Eastern time. So you would set it up, but only if that were the case. Of course, this could happen every day, so we need to have it recurring. There's a little option here that says for recurring, and there's one up here on the ribbon as well. So if I click on recurring, then it says, okay, so this is going to be from the 21st to the 22nd. No, it's not. This is going to be from the 21st to the 21st. So I'm just going to click on 21 for the finishing time. So it's still the same day. Now I'm going to make it reoccurring. And I'm going to say it happens Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it will also happen on Friday. But it's only happening for this person is 1 hour. And when should it stop happening? Well, it starts today and it's going to finish on the 25th. So I'll click on the 25th, but I better have the right month. So I'll go all the way back here. It usually gives you 6 months. And I'll choose September 25th. There you go. And I'll say it ends on the 25th and it's each day for 1 hour, and I'll click OK. Fantastic. So now it says here it's reoccurring. It happens every day at 12 o'clock until 1 o'clock, and it happens every day of the week from the 21st to the 25th. And we've just learned about categories, so let's create a category. And we'll call this pizza. What color would look good for pizza? Let's have red. So I'll call this new, and I'll say pizza. Lunch, and we'll make it red. What color? No. Yeah, okay, we'll take that one. Red. Doesn't look red. And I'll click OK. And I'll click OK. And there's my red pizza lunch. And what else can we say? Oh, this is definitely high priority. This has got to be high. So we're going to click on high. And should we put a template in here? What do you think? Let's put a template in here as well. So we can actually put in different elements that make it look a little different. So I just clicked on template. Here we go. So click on OK, continue. Fantastic. Let's take a look what we got here. There's no pizza. Lunch. There's no lunch. Okay, so too bad, so sad. There's no template for pizza lunch. So we'll get rid of that then. I'm running late is no good. I'll reply later, no good. Nope, okay, so too bad, so sad. So let's just see what it looks like now. And by the way, I can type in information. You're up for a pizza lunch. Hello, respond. So let's click OK. We'll send it. Now, just before I send it, there are some other things here as well. This is a Teams meeting, which means that this link here that you see, my mouse is over it right now, join Microsoft Teams. This is a team link, and this will take me to this particular, let's say, meeting. And in addition, I could actually click on this icon at the top here, and that will do exactly the same thing. So either one of these links. remember this because this is actually to your advantage. Now we can send a calendar as well. We can forward this and forward the calendar as well. We can put meeting notes in as well. We can actually check on different responses to this. We can even set it up so that you're busy during that period of time. So let's do that. You're busy, we'll do that, and we'll say we want a reminder. We want a reminder right at the moment. So 0 minutes reminder. And reoccurrence we've already set, that's why it's selected, and everything else is ready. So scheduling assistant. Well, I can actually see whether or not they've accepted. And this would be determined on who I send it to. Okay, so I'm sending it to different people. And their list would be down here along the side, so I'd see them. And I'd see what time I set it up for. Well, here it is right here. It's from 12 until 1 o'clock. It's blanked out. This is for my actual pizza lunch. Okay. And we can send that as well. We can put in options here, like find a room, add a room to it in case they need to go to a specific room for lunch. And of course, there are other options we might add. I might want to insert something as well. This might be address books, or it could be cards or signatures or tables. Lots of different things that you could put in here, including the 3D models. Text, you can modify the text. So maybe I want to make sure that they really take a look at that. So I'll come in here and make this even larger. Want them to know this is pizza, dude, pizza. Fantastic, pizza lunch. What's the matter with you? And of course we can change the style. And of course we can even review it. So maybe I better check my spelling, or maybe I want to find out, something else. Can they see it on their computer? What language should it be in as well? So let's just say everything is okay, and we're going to send it. Fantastic. So you notice it sent it. And now let's say their particular calendar is now filled, as well as this one here. So I can see what I've just sent out. Okay, and if I double click on one of these, it'll say just this one, or the whole series, just this one today. And there's my request for them to have pizza with me. Okay, close that. So here I can click on any one of them, including, let's say, Friday. Click on that, open it up, and it's exactly the same thing. But this one is now for Friday. So having the reoccurring allows me to set them up in advance. And they will also receive the same thing. So let's just double check that. So here we are. Let's come up here to the top. And we're just going to refresh this. It might be a few seconds before it actually comes in, but there will be a request that comes in as well. Let's go back to our calendar. There we go. So there's our calendar. And now we can actually choose to accept or reject. It's up to us entirely. However, what would happen if I decided to put in another one? Okay, so I could just simply click, and you notice it opens it up here. Or I can come up here and click on, since I've clicked on that day, maybe it's a new meeting I want to have, or a new appointment. I just want to make sure that I know I have an appointment. Maybe it's a doctor's appointment. Let's say car appointment, car service. Okay. So car service, and it's going to happen at, let's say it'll happen in the afternoon. So we'll say 2 o'clock, and it'll probably take about 3 hours. So we'll go down to maybe 4:30. Okay. And we'll say location. Let's say the car dealership. There's a whole bunch of them here. Fantastic. So you could pick and choose whichever one you wanted. So car dealership. And then, of course, I can put in the particulars, whatever I want to put in here that's highly intelligent. So all of us can actually read this, of course. Fantastic. And then, of course, I can save it. Well, if I save it the way it is, and I might want to change this to, let's say, out of the office this time. So I'm going to save it. And there it is. So now I have at 2 o'clock that there is an appointment. And if I click on day, I can now see that that's in there as well. And of course, if I put my mouse over it, I can see more information about it. If I double click on it, I can see the actual appointment itself. Well, let's put another one in. So just going to, oops, let's just go back here again. And we will close this. Oops, that was stupid. Give me 1 second. I have to open that again. Piece of cake. There we go. So here we got this came in. Okay, fantastic. Super duper. And this is Sonia. So this is the wrong one. We want this one here. Fantastic. Good job. So let's come back in here again. And let's choose our month. So what if I wanted to add another one? Well, let's add it to the next day. This time, instead of an appointment, instead of a meeting for Teams, let's choose a regular meeting. I click on it. You notice we still have the ability to create a Teams meeting, but the Teams link is not there this time. And now I'm actually putting in names again and putting in addresses, and I'm going through the whole same process again. And I can even see here for Room Finder, most businesses, they have very specific requirements for the use of a room. And of course, here I might want to include my calendar so that people could see it. So I'm going to include that. By the way, there is a requirement within your projects, which we'll talk about shortly, where you do have to put in your calendar as well that you create. So if I click on it, it'll show me the calendar. There's my calendar for the day, and it's only for that day, by the way. So I can actually put that in there as well. And of course, I can now send this information, which will be for a meeting. Let's just get rid of that. So here we have the location that I want to put in, what room I've decided on, and who must be there, who is optional. But I now have all of these options here that I can go through. I can schedule it. I can see what's already happening. These are the two that are already set up. We just set them up a moment ago. Okay. And I'm asking to choose another time. So what time? 8 o'clock until 8:30. So that's the time that is being set up for, till 8:30. And there's nothing in there right now. Okay. So we could actually choose that. Let's come back to September 21st. Whoop, just passed it. Fantastic. So there's the 21st. So why not have this meeting from 1 o'clock until 2 o'clock? So let's do that. Let's set it up for 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So I'm going to widen this so it's actually 1 full hour. And you'll see that it's now ready to do that. So we will say 1 o'clock till 2 o'clock. And it looks good like that. Fantastic. Okay, so let's go back to meeting and let's give it a name. So this will be just meeting test. Fantastic. So meeting test, and we'll set this up for the same person. We'll set up for this one this time. Okay, and location, we'll say room 15. Okay, that's our classroom, room 15. So we'll say room 15. That's where it's going to happen. What should we say? Documents Documents, we'll leave it that way, documents. And what we're doing here is we can even go looking for a room. By the way, when you click on this, depending on the company you're in, it will go looking for rooms to see which rooms are actually available and which rooms may not be available during certain periods of time. Might be another team taking place or another meeting taking place. So now that this is all here, I can click on, well, let's choose a category. This time we'll choose purple, not blue. Choose blue. And we won't give it a name, we'll just say blue. And we'll select it. So now I have it in here. And I'll click on show me the date. Fantastic. So now I have the different meetings that are in here. Oops. Okay, where does it go? Where did it go? It disappeared. What did you do with it? Let's go back in here. Nope. Did I not save it? I may not have saved it. Let's go back here. Oh, 22nd is where I put it. $12 it's not here. Where is it hiding? Teams meeting for instructor. This is a test. Okay, I forgot to send it. I don't see it. 22nd. Okay, so I screwed that one up. What happened to it? Okay, we'll let that one go. So anyhow, we can send out these different ones. We can add to the calendar. There's a lot of little nuances here. Let's just go back here to assistant. Okay, let's go back to the second day. Back up slightly. Well, it is there. It's just not exactly where I wanted it to be. Anyhow, I think it's sharing a space. Super stuff. So I can actually create these things, and it tells me what days these are as well. Oh, this is one of the reasons. Okay. It's a combination of 2 days. Anyhow. So I can set this up in the calendar, and this was important to us to recognize. We can actually create these in the calendar. When you actually create a brand spanking new calendar, and you can do that with great ease, by the way. So here we have other calendars that are available to us, and I might want to right click on it. And let's just say I needed to create a brand new one. Well, I can do that. I can either remove it or I can create a new group or a new calendar. If I want to create a new calendar for a specific email account, I can do that. And you will be doing that at some point. So let's take a look at some of the things you're going to be doing. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is that you've received an email. And that email is for Cengage. So let me open up Cengage for a moment. And it's probably removed it. It did. I have to re-log in again. So when you actually log in this time, you're going to log in. You're going to see your accounts that are already there. But on the right-hand side, you're going to see that little area specifically for typing in the PP code. So use the link that's in the email. So let me just pull one of those emails out here for a moment, because it's kind of important that you use the link. And it's going to be Trios. Okay, the meeting request is here. This is the meeting request I just sent. And let me just check. It should be in Cengage. Okay, so you would have received an email with this little yellow banner this morning. This is when they sent it to you. And inside of it, there's a link, and you want to use this link. This link has the MT code, which will give you access to Outlook. However, below that, you actually have a PP code as well as your email. Use the email that they give you, which is your regular email. Use that as your user account and use that PP code. But use the link in this email because this is setting you up with Outlook. The PP code gives you access to it. So that's something you're going to have to do a little bit later. Not going to do it right at this moment, but just keep that in mind. You received this email this morning, so you actually have it. And I'm just simply going to open up the, just give me one quick second here. It's nice to jump back and forth between screens. Okay. So you have two assignments to do, assignment number 1, assignment number 2. And in the invitation that I sent you is both of these. So they're both attached, and inside of this is assignment number 1. I'll show you assignment number 2 in a moment. Oops. Okay, assignment number 2 is just opening. We'll come back to that one. In this, you're going to do a variety of different functions. You're going to be sending me emails. So the first task you're going to do is you will attach a document. But listen very, very carefully. Write it down if you have to. I only want one email from this assignment, but it will have 10 separate pictures in it. And those pictures will be a picture of each assignment you do. So here it says attach a file. It says successfully attach a file, which is any one of these particular ones. So Word or PowerPoint or Excel or a picture. You can attach anything you want. So let's just quickly do the first one. So I would open up. There we go. So I'm opening it up. I'm going to create a new email. I will address it to myself because you're sending it to me. Okay, there you go. And then I would put in here, this is step number 1. Step 1 of assignment number 1. So AS1. Oops, AS1. Oh, even better if I put the 1 in here, right? There you go, AS1. So this is assignment number 1, step number 1. And I'm just simply going to attach. So I'm going to attach, and I'll attach anything to it. So there you go. And that's it. That's all you had to do. And then you would take a picture of this. Well, how do you take a picture? Well, here's how you take that picture. I want you to go to Start. You're going to type in snippet. Okay. So I'm just opening this search up. Here we go. There's my search. And I'm just simply going to type in, oops, sorry, wrong one. Oh, excuse me. Snippet. So snipping. There we go. There's my snipping tool. That's all I want. Going to click on it. Okay. It's going to come up with a little dialog box here. I'm going to click New. And I'm going to select just that one email, just a little bit of it. I don't need the whole thing. I just need to see it. There you go. And now I'm going to copy it. So I go to Edit. I go to Copy. Okay, and I can get rid of that now. And I'm going to create a new email. Okay. This will also be sent to me later. So I'm not even going to put my name in. I'll just put in, this is assignment. This is assignment number 1. Okay, and this will be step 1. And I'll put the picture. So there's my picture underneath, and I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. There you go. I just need to see that it's there. There's step number 1. And then below that, I'm going to put in step number 2. And then I'll put in the picture of that one underneath. When they're all there, all 10 of them are in there, then I can then put in, you'll put in my name here. Okay. So this will be for me. And it will be assignment number 1. And when all 10 of them are in here, you'll click on send and send that to me. But I don't want you sending me 10 separate emails. It's just too much to take care of. So once again, there are 10 steps in here. The first one was show me that you can attach an email. The next one is use the BCC. That would be step number 2 or task number 2. Use a signature, so you'll create a signature. But you have the entire week to do this one and the next one. Okay, so these are the steps you're actually going to go through. And this can be sent to me whenever it's finished. Okay, this week. And then, of course, it breaks it down for you. Start a new email. This is task number 1. So 10 tasks. Again, this is what they are up here. And this is where they are. So start a new task, a new email, I should say. Enter your instructor's email. Enter task number 1 in the subject line. Okay, so it's asking you for step number 1 or task number 1. Attach a document and then send the email. But here it should say take a picture of it and then attach it to another email that you're going to send me after you put all 10 of them in. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. I know it's not going to, but it should make sense. That's assignment number 1. So let's take a look at assignment number 2. Now I'm going to create a little video on this as well, just to, because some of you tend to get confused with simple things. Let me just check here. Looks like somebody wants something. Little difficult. Actually, it's really, really simple. It's not difficult. Okay, let me take a look at assignment number 2. Okay, remember both assignments must be completed by Friday. So the end of Friday, they must be completed. Assignment number 2 is a little bit more complex. But remember, we're just starting. In this case, step number 4 actually has several steps involved. Okay, the first one is capturing an email or calendar contact. So you're actually putting in a calendar contact and also capturing the email of Mr. Wilson. Now there is instructions here, so you just have to follow those instructions carefully. And we'll be doing this ourselves as well. Successfully capture and email the task list. Again, you're taking a picture of it and adding it in. Successfully capturing an email contact. Again, it's a picture and you're putting that in. So you're taking a picture of what's on your screen. And here's the information. So you take it one step at a time. Task number 1 is create a contact. Okay, so who do I create? Well, it says here, task 1, and then you set it up this way. So remember, tomorrow we'll do this, and that'll give you more indication. So this one, don't worry too much right away. And then, of course, create and edit a calendar. Well, we've kind of done that. We're going to do it again anyhow tomorrow. And, of course, creating a task, and we'll do that as well. So you just have to follow the steps as they're listed here. And there's not that much here. There really isn't. Task number 4, there's a number of different steps involved. In task number 3, there are 10 steps involved. And task number 2, there are 4 steps involved. So each one of them have different steps, but it kind of shows you there's only 4 in total. and you're getting marks on both. 25% for this completion, 25% for the previous one, AS1. This is AS2. So assignment number 2. And we'll come back to those again tomorrow. So
Michael,
Yep, go ahead.
can you just attach this assignment question list to the chat, please?
Okay. Did you not open your email? Okay.
I did not check it now.
Oh, it's a good idea to check your email every so often.
No,
So
since we are in the class, so I didn't check it. Did you send it before?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's in the invitation. There were 3 files in the invitation.
All right.
Okay, I just included it again in the chat, so it's in the chat again. It's also in the team that I created. I did create another team for you. So let me just pull that up here. I will show you again, somebody wants to see the snipping. Just give me a second and I'll show you that one as well. And by the way, this is not difficult. If you think it's difficult, it will be difficult. If you think it's going to be easy, it will eventually become much easier. So start thinking in a different way. So teams, and I did give you access to this Outlook team.
Mike?
Just a minute. So I gave you access to Outlook 2016, this team that you'll have resources in as well. Some of you have already logged in there. I'll be placing video in here as well for today. And of course, there's already videos here. So you can always use those videos to help you out. The assignments are there and the course outline is the wrong one. So don't worry about that. Okay, go ahead. Somebody wanted to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just asking, do we have, are we going to be using Cengage?
Yes, but in a minute.
Oh, okay. That's what I want to know, because I was trying to log in, but I'm like, hey, I need a key, a course key.
Okay. Okay. Okay, let's just take a look at the snipping again. So when you go to start, if you have a Windows computer and you go to start, you'll be able to call up snipping. Or what you can do is go to search and type in snipping. So S-N-I-P, of course, P-I-N-G tool. And that's the snipping app. What it allows you to do is take a picture of the area on the screen that you want. And once I've actually opened it up, it says new, so I can click on new. And then I just select what area I want. So maybe I only want this part here. So as soon as I release the mouse, it automatically has selected that. And I can do 2 things. I can either save it as a file or I can copy it. And then that allows me to paste it into another document. So snipping is a really good tool. It really is. Now there is another way of doing this, and I'm going to show you that one as well. The other approach is I'm simply going to choose, I could choose Word here. I'm going to choose another email, which is blank, because I want to be able to play with it a little bit. So what I'm going to do, let me just make a little bit larger here. Oops, come on. There you go. So I have a little bit more space. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, on the keyboard, there is a key in the middle, and it is above where the function keys are, and it says print screen. You click it once, done, okay? And it will actually select the entire screen. That's all I wanted to do. It is now selected, and now when I paste, you're going to paste it as a picture. Whoops. Now I have another program running in the background, which is kind of throwing things off. When you actually click on print screen, I have another one running, so I don't get exactly what I would like. It's kind of screwing it up on me. Let me see if it came up in the clipboard. No, it didn't. Okay. So when you print screen, you'll get your screen, the whole screen, and you'll be able to modify that. So let me just pull up this picture here and I'll share this. Okay. There you go. So there's this weirdo group of people. Fantastic. And let's just say it was your print screen and you only wanted a small section of it. Well, because it's a picture, when you click on picture format, I can then crop it. So if I click on crop, I can then drag this in and crop out anything I don't want. And maybe I'll grab it from the edge here and drag it up, and that's all I'm going to choose. And I'll click on crop one more time, and that's all I'm ending up with. So you can either print screen or you can use the snipping tool. Either way, you're going to be able to put in pictures, one after the other, one on top, one on the bottom. You just keep adding your pictures one after the other until you have all 10 done for assignment number 1. And then for the next one, all 4 of those, which will have about 12 to 13 pictures. This way I don't get 20 emails from you. I only get 2, AS1 and AS2, but it'll have images of what you've done. Okay? And I can see from the images what you've actually accomplished. So let me go back to the question that was just given to me about Cengage. You are, as I mentioned, and I want you to listen for a change, okay? You were sent an email today, this morning. In fact, you were sent an email from me yesterday as well. And hopefully you're looking at your emails. So the email you received this morning is from Trios Materials. And I'm just going to open up one of them here. This is not yours. This is for somebody else, but it will give you a general idea. So let me find it first. Where is Cengage? Cengage, here we are. So you were sent an email that looks like this, it's got a yellow banner in it. This was sent to you this morning. Okay, every time that we change the book, you'll get a brand new code. So in this case here, there is a link. That link, I want you to use the link that's here. So in other words, it says course and it says MTPNH06QZFNF. That is Outlook. But you're going to need the PP code that came with your email. Okay, it's really important that you use that link because you won't have any questions about paying for anything or anything else. You just put in that PP code. If you don't do it and you don't listen to what I'm saying, you're going to run into problems. So please click on the link in the email they sent you this morning. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So guys, what I'd like you to do is go to that email, click on the link, activate your code, your new PP code, the new one they just sent you. Activate that so that you now have access to Outlook. I want you to keep something in mind, which is really important. You only have 4 days this time. This is not 5 days. This is 4 days. So you need to really focus on those training that are in there. No excuses. You need to find time and apply yourself to those trainings because you get marks for them. Piece of cake. So what I'm going to do is let you go to Cengage. I want you to start working on the training. Also read through both assignments, assignment 1 and assignment 2, just to get an idea of it. Don't stress yourself out because we're taking it one step at a time. And I will go over calendars again tomorrow. Piece of cake. So have a great day, guys.